The cosmic fracture occurred at 11:14 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, not with a roar, but with a terrifying, absolute silence that felt like the universe holding its breath. Arthur Penhaligon, a planetary geologist who had spent his life studying the silent shifts of tectonic plates, was the first to realize that the ground beneath his feet hadn't just moved, it had duplicated. He stood on the edge of a cliff in the Scottish Highlands, watching as the moon above suddenly doubled, two identical lunar spheres hanging in a sky that was stretching like taffy. Beneath him, the horizon began to tear, a shimmering, translucent veil of iridescent energy rising from the core of the Earth itself. It wasn't a physical explosion, it was a cellular division on a planetary scale. By the time the sun rose, there were two Earths, identical in every detail, orbiting each other in a tight, gravitational dance within the same orbital path. Arthur watched the news feeds in a daze. The twin Earth was a perfect mirror. Every building, every tree, even every person had been duplicated at the moment of the split. For the first few weeks, the world lived in a state of ecstatic, terrifying wonder. Families called their doubles on the other side via a localized quantum bridge that the scientists had quickly established. You could talk to a version of yourself that had made the same breakfast, felt the same morning headache, and harbored the same secret regrets. It was the ultimate social experiment. But Arthur, staring at the gravitational data in his makeshift lab, saw the flaw that everyone else was too mesmerized to notice. The mass of the solar system hadn't changed, but the displacement of Earth's orbital energy was creating a microscopic lag. The two planets were identical, yes, but they were slowly falling out of sync. The intrigue deepened when the governments of Earth A and Earth B began to compete for resources that only existed in a single state before the split. A strange phenomenon started to occur, the thinning. Objects on one Earth would occasionally flicker and vanish, reappearing on the other. It started with small things, keys, pens, loose change. Then, a bridge in Venice disappeared from Earth A and doubled its mass on Earth B, causing a catastrophic collapse. Arthur realized that the universe was trying to correct a glitch. It couldn't sustain two identical copies of the same matter in the same spacetime coordinates. One Earth was becoming the primary, and the other was fading into a ghost. The terrifying question was, which one was which? Arthur's double, whom he called Art, contacted him through the quantum link. Art was a mirror image in every way. Except for one chilling detail, Art's eyes were bloodshot, and he looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. Art told him that on Earth B, the sun was beginning to dim, and people were experiencing the quiet, a psychological condition where they simply lost the ability to perceive the world around them. Earth B was losing the fight for existence. Arthur felt a surge of pity, but then he noticed a flicker in his own coffee mug. He looked at his hands and saw the faint shimmer of iridescence. He wasn't on the primary Earth, he was on the ghost. The plot took a viral, darker turn when a secret mission was launched. Scientists on Arthur's side discovered a way to anchor their reality by harvesting the core energy of the other Earth. It was planetary cannibalism. If they could drain the gravitational stability of Earth A, Earth B would become the permanent reality. Arthur was recruited to help calibrate the siphon, a machine that would bridge the gap between the two planets and essentially delete the other version of humanity to save his own. He looked at Art on the screen, seeing his own face, his own soul, and realized that to live, he had to murder himself and 7 billion other versions of his friends and family. The unexpected twist arrived during the final countdown of the siphon's activation. Arthur broke into the control room, not to stop the machine, but to look at the deep space telemetry one last time. He realized that the split wasn't a natural disaster or a scientific accident. He found a signal embedded in the iridescent veil, a sequence of mathematical constants that didn't belong to human physics. The Earth hadn't split into two, it had been backed up. The solar system was entering a region of space where a massive cosmic event, a gamma ray burst from a nearby collapsing star, was about to incinerate everything. The duplication was a life raft, a way to preserve the planet by creating a sacrificial copy to absorb the hit while the other was tucked away in a subspatial pocket. Arthur's heart stopped as he saw the truth. Earth A and Earth B weren't fighting for existence. They were being prepared for a lottery. One would be the shield, and the other would be the survivor. But the machine he had helped build, the siphon, was actually interfering with the tucking process. By trying to steal energy from the other side, they were breaking the life raft. He shouted into the comms to Art on the other side, explaining that they had to shut everything down and simply wait for the fade. They had to let one version of themselves go quietly so the other could live. In the final, haunting moment, the gamma ray burst hit. The iridescence turned into a blinding white light. Arthur felt himself dissolving, his consciousness stretching across the void. He saw Art on the other side, smiling in relief as the primary Earth slid into the safety of the subspatial fold. The twist wasn't that Arthur died, it was that as he dissolved, he realized he wasn't the geologist. He was the backup memory of the geologist, a sentient recording created to ensure the transition went smoothly. As his Earth evaporated into starlight to protect the original, his last thought was a broadcast to the survivor: don't waste the second chance. The screen went black, leaving the audience with the terrifying realization that they might just be the backup, waiting for their own shimmer to begin.